Hey, here we go. Happy Derby Day, episode 68, uploaded and coming at you here as we are, well, the day is here. Everything is coming together. Hopefully, things will work out for us today. But we do have a lot of updates to kind of get involved here. Good news is, hey, it was pretty great to see good cheer win the Kentucky Oaks. She was really, really impressive. She remains undefeated, and that's a good way to go into this Saturday. We played the Oaks Derby double that we gave you guys there, and we told you to pretty much single good cheer in the Oaks, and then we'll move on to the second leg of that double, which is the Derby, which is today. Of course, you know who we have in that second leg. We are all about Final Gambit to take home the Oaks Derby double. But let's get you updated on everything that's happening with all the changes, and then we have changes to our All Stakes Pick 5 ticket that we put out yesterday to give you a chance to kind of look at it. And now they've made a bunch of scratches, and in one of the legs we lost both of our horses, so we kind of start all over again and get a much better approach. But let's update you on all the changes that we have as of this Derby day. Here we go. Rodriguez is out. Grande out. Baeza in. Now the riders switch. Baez is in. Flavian Pratt's going to ride that horse, who's going to be all the way to the outside at spot number 20 or 19. Yes, 19 horses this year. And then Luis Saez will move to the inside and ride Neo Equus, who is a serious speed threat on the sloppy track. All right, so that's what's happening there. You see the rider changes, and then of course that does affect your pace a little bit, right? A little bit. And then of course we have to update our track conditions. The rain has not really stopped at all. It might get a little break, and then it's going to continue all the way through and rain all the way through and past post time all the way into the next week at Louisville, Kentucky. So we know the main track will be at least sloppy, might even be muddy. And we know the turf course will be yielding, maybe even soft. And that affects the way that we sort of approach this play, right? You want to try to find horses that you think might move up on the surface, or horses you think you can absolutely throw out because of the surface. So we take a new approach to the All Stakes Pick 5 play. It's going to start in race number 8 on the card. Of course, the track will be sloppy. Turf course will be yielding. First leg is the Churchill Downs Stakes, all right? And that's going to be 7 furlongs on the main track that we just said is going to be sloppy. So that means we're going to add some speed we think might be able to get away, and it brings our ticket up. So it's a 50-cent play. Now it's going to cost $36 for the 50-cent play. Let's see if we can get it done. Banishing has some speed. That's the number 2 with Jose Ortiz. And, you know, I like horses that have route speed turning back. It's a 7 furlong race. This horse has been showing speed, going a mile and a 16th, mile and an eighth. Now turning back to 7 furlongs. Could be in a nice little spot to sit just off. And they have a nice closing kick, Banishing does, in race number 8. So the 2 we use. Tejano Twist is the 5. Is a horse that I think is going to really relish the off track, even though they've run 4 times and they haven't won. They've been second 3 times. That's good enough for me. Nice closing kick. Maybe they get something to run into. That's the 5. So 2, 5, and then the 6, Extra Anejo, is a runner that does have a really nice closing kick on the off track. They've never been there, but the offspring of Into Mischief gets a great 418 Tomlinson number for the wet track. That'll get it done. And then there is Mind Frame for Ripoli, Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, coming off a little bit of a freshening from March the 1st, but he's got a really nice closing kick. He'll be in the right spot. 2, 5, 6, 7 in that first leg of the All Stakes Pick 5. Second leg, we move to the turf course, right? The American Turf Stakes, a mile and a 16th on the turf. We know the turf's going to have plenty of give, right? Going to be yielding or soft. So what are we looking for? Horses that have either run over the good or soft or yielding turf course, which is rare, right? You look for European horses that have done that, or you just find a horse you think the pedigree and the running style fits perfectly. The 2, Scipio, is a runner I think fits beautifully. Umberto Rispoli could be in the right spot to make the move from off the pace. I just love the rating style of this runner. And then there's the 3, New Century. Here's one of these European runners I was talking about for Brendan Walsh. Last time out was Newmarket. Before that, they've been everywhere. Lingfield, Doncaster, Ascot, and Woodbine on that turf there as well, which can sometimes have a little give. So I like the fact that they ran on a good turf course last time out. It wasn't a great performance, but they got experience over the course with some give. Irad Ortiz in the irons on the 3. Then we go all the way outside. The 13 is intriguing. It is Maui Strong. And he has a really incredible turn of foot. He ran on that off turf course at Keeneland when they had all that rain during opening weekend, It wasn't bad. He ran third in that field of 12 in the Transylvania. I like that performance. But what I really like about Maui Strong, the 13 in race number 9, is when this runner broke the maiden, right? This took place back on November the 9th last year at Churchill Downs on the turf course. Who's the horse that he beat? He beat Final Gambit, my top pick in the Kentucky Derby. We know that horse runs well on turf and synthetic. We think he'll take to the dirt. Maui Strong, to me, is kind of an angle that I couldn't ignore, especially when Final Gambit wins later on today. Maui Strong is an important reference. So the 13 has to be in race number 9 for me. Then we go to race number 10. It's my only single in the sequence. 7 furlong, Derby City Distaff. All right? The thing that makes this intriguing is I really feel like there are some interesting horses in here. We had some scratches. But Ways and Means is a really good horse that's run well on the sloppy track. And I think they're going to get the perfect setup for Chad Brown. They're coming off the layoff, Flavien Prat. There's some speed in there to set things up for them, and I think they'll be just perfect. And so we're going to go ahead and use one single and single that runner, the 8, in the 10th race on the card. All right, now we move on. Race number 11. Got to go 1 1/8 miles on the turf course in the Bourbon Turf Classic. We go with 3 runners here. Now, Integration's going to be the favorite to the inside. I don't know. I don't feel strongly about him, especially with this turf course. Going to have so much give. He did win over the soft turf course at Colonial, so there is that there, but I'm going to still go against Integration, who's going to be the favorite. Let's go to some prices. We like the 8 in here. Cameo Performance, great closing kick, and has a little bit of European form, right? Debuted at Dundalk, although it was on the synthetic that day. I still feel like maybe the conditions will be somewhat similar. Who knows? But I do like the 8. Great closing kick, second off the layoff. Improved fitness, could be in the great spot. And of course, we'll get a great ride from Luis Saez. Also, we use in here the 10. That's Spirit of St. Louis. I don't normally use Manny Franco with Chad Brown, but they do have a high win percentage. And this horse is going to be in a great spot to make that move now. Third off of the layoff. And they performed well on a turf course with Give. Got a lot of rain at Aqueduct. Maybe a couple years ago, 2023, 2024, both times, he ran very well over the turf course with a lot of give, so I like that reference there. And then the 12 is Gigante. Joel Rosario, deep closer, also does well on the off track, and we're getting value times value times value in race number 11. Then we get to race number 12. The track is an absolute quagmire, and I really believe Luxor Cafe is going to benefit and be the first one to kind of get the jump on the closers and kind of get away with that nice turn of foot, that acceleration that they have. But it won't be enough, as Final Gambit will come circling the field with that ridiculous turn of foot, and he will win the Derby. When that happens, we're going to be rich. That's it. We're just going to be rich. That's what's going to happen. So you can take a good look at the ticket right there, right? And see if you want to follow or fade. And then we're going to, make sure we remind you what we're doing. We're all in on number 3, Final Gambit, to win the Kentucky Derby. If he wins, awesome. If he doesn't, okay. We're going to be just like 18 other people, 18 other connections and horses who didn't win. Only one can win. It's great when you do. If you don't, all right, you just keep it pushing and move on to the next thing, because there's always another opportunity. We're going to play that key on the exacta. We want to remind you, whoever you like, you key that horse on top. It's a single, so to speak, and then it doesn't matter who runs second. You win. You win. All right. So that's how we set it up here on this Derby Saturday. So much excitement. Pace yourselves. It's a long day. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to play until we get to that all stakes pick 5, and hopefully we can also get the second half of our double to come through with Final Gambit in the Kentucky Derby. You've got your choices, make them. But whatever you do, feel good about it. I feel great about what I'm going to do. All right, that's going to do it for us here. Episode 68 is in the books on horse race bets. I'm Ken Rudulph. In the meantime, in between time, and until next time, we will see you, and good luck and enjoy yourself, and let's get it.